Hey guys, this is Andy McCann here with Fitness, Food, and Finance. We're trying to help you lay a firm foundation so that you can be healthy and ready to go right now as well as in your 90s. All right, this episode is for all you new dads out there. Moms, if you're listening, this isn't for you, but it's kind of for you because it's for the dads, and you have one of those if you have a baby. So tell them to listen to this. All right, I am 50. My advice may suck, but I'm going to give you some things. I'm going to pop out some stuff for you that occurred over the, 20-something years of raising kids, 22 years now, I guess, of raising kids. Things that I've listened to, things that I've done, things that I've seen, some advice. And I know several of you, I think there's 10 of you having babies in the gym. And this is just me and the road we went down. Now, there are some things that you're going to be like, duh, everybody knows that, for sure. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to do some gym stuff, so we'll talk about some of the things coming up. But right up front, we're getting all the money talk. Here's probably the biggest thing I'm going to tell you. I like to do spoilers first. So the spoiler, Dad, don't solve everything. Instead, ask questions. All right. So some of y'all have heard me say this, but it's taken me a very long time to come to this point. When the girls in my life ask me something or tell me a story, I say variations of these two sentences that I got from a podcast my daughter sent me. Not that podcast, it was the next one. Whenever they say, Dad, listen to this, I always follow it and then listen to a few more because I want them to know that I care and that I'm interested. So it's a nice little trick. Hey, if you're listening to it, I want to listen to it. It gives you easy stuff to talk about, right? Anyway, in one of the podcasts, the guy said what I learned was to say, variations of that bitch is crazy and that bitch is jealous of you. And I'm like, okay, how do I work that into my life? And it's been super helpful. So I was on the phone with my wife. Evie's in the car, and my wife is telling me a story, and I want to solve it. And instead, I said to her, it sounds like the woman you speak of is not really right in her head, right? That bitch is crazy. So Evie is in the car, and she texts me, LOL, bitch be crazy. And I just texted back, well, is it working? And she's like, yes. And so it does. And it's not working in the sense of, I don't want to pay attention. I don't want to be part of your life. I definitely do. I just want to solve things too fast. And people don't want things solved. They want to be heard. So this is you listening to them. So that is some advice that you can use now for always. And I'm going to give you more. So that's a spoiler. Dad, stop solving stuff. Okay. The other is, Dad, while they do want your money, if you're the one earning the bread, they also want you. So you have to figure it out. How much time? There is no work-life balance. It's work-life imbalance. And what am I okay with being imbalanced about? Everyone's got daddy problems. Everyone's got mommy problems. But in reality, dads and moms are just doing the best damn thing they can. Now, I agree. Some parents suck. They're on meth or they smoke weed or, not that weed's bad. Meth is pretty bad. Everyone would agree to that. Or they're snorting lines of cocaine and they're just not good parents. Or they leave their kids and run and hide. I don't know why they do that. I don't have an answer for that. While I am relatively emotionally void, I am still emotionally here enough to know that that is wrong. And people who do that, I don't know. I have too much secondhand guilt to ever do that. When I watch shows, Evan and I, when we watch things like Friends or Seinfeld or whatever, we have a hard time watching it because something stupid's about to happen. And you're like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And they do it anyway. And the embarrassment factor is so high, I want to get up and walk away. And I have done that in movies, but anyway. So I have got a list that I put together, and I'm going to go through as much as I can. If I can, I'm going to pause this. Hopefully you don't notice me pausing it like I did just then to clear my throat and drink coffee, Charles. I've got some other things pulled up. So let me start with this. If you're watching, great. You can see what I'm showing you. If you can't, I'm going to try to talk it to you. So this is a video, and it's a YouTube podcast. On YouTube, it's Fitness, Food, and Finance right now, and on YouTube, or on podcast. And on YouTube, you have to go to @AndyMcCann42, and I post everything there as well. Anyway. If you go to the podcast and you type in the word dad and then you look for those podcasts, there's 10 podcasts that have to do with something about dad and it's a relevant topic, right? I think probably some of the best ones you could listen to is me and my kids talking through a subject, which is normally not about parenting. It's just something else. But I think you're going to see an interesting interaction. I have got this weird thing about me that children love me usually. And I don't really know what it is. At a guess, it's because I get down on their level and I talk to them like a real person and I ask them questions. Yes, I'm pretending because I know you should do this and I enjoy children, but it's hard for anybody to really do that. Just get down on their level and talk to them. And you're going to do this for anybody and your kids and so forth. But listen to my kids talk about their stuff and me asking questions. I'm not pretending to be interested. I actually am interested. But I think it's an interesting back and forth that you might find some good stuff as well as some bad stuff. And you're like, yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. Anyway, there is this one podcast. It's number 40. It was back in May 9th of 2023. It says, Dad, quit being a butt to your kid on the field. I think that one is super valuable. If you're going to have kids and are going to play sports, you should listen to that one. Okay, on to the show. So if you're a brand new dad, the first thing is you're going to be sleep deprived. And that's going to happen a lot. I'm going to tell you this. Your sleep doesn't matter. Your mom's, your wife's sleep matters. So just give it up. I mean, you can sleep when you get to the office and you're just like, dude, I need to take a little nap. Just stay in the car and take a little nap. Help your wife get that sleep because she is not only doing the things you're doing, but she's probably also feeding the baby. And you literally can't do that unless you're like, feeding the baby with bottles or whatever. But she is doing more and nutrients are leaving her body and she is supporting too, literally, and you're just there to wipe some ass. So let her have all the sleep she wants. Yeah, that is you not being selfish at all. It's actually kind of selfish, I suppose, because you want her to do her thing because that helps everybody and it helps you have a better life. So totally have that done. Later on, when you can afford to, figure out a good schedule. Go to sleep and wake up at the same times. Now I'm going to tell you this. First kid, Olivia, we did the Bradley birthing method and we did the back to sleep. So we didn't do back to sleep. We did front to sleep. So we had the kids sleep on their stomach and everybody's fine. Oh, they're going to die. They don't die. They just sleep on their stomach. Obviously don't be a dumbass and put like a bearskin rug in there where they're going to like barf and then asphyxiate themselves. There's a pad that Aaron Dixon had that I bought for him for a gift. And it was the sleeping on your face pillow pad or whatever. Not pillow, but pad. It had some like weaves in it, some air pockets. What we used to do is put down 2 blankets, like shower towels that you would use. We put down 2 towels and then put the mattress topper on there pretty tight. And that allowed for throat to be drained and everybody was fine. They didn't have weird bits like flat on the back of their head. They turned out super normal. The other thing, we did a lot of strange stuff. Nowadays, I don't think it's so strange, but 20 years ago, it was pretty strange. Our kids didn't get any shots. They started to get shots. There was bad reactions, and I started doing some reading, and there was no real internet the way you think of it. You kind of had to like really work at it or know somebody. But weirdly, if you were going to be a no vaccine or no shot type of person, then you also had to believe in like aliens and flat earth and all sorts of weird crap that kind of came along. And you're like, can I just like pick it apart and take what I want and go for that? So our family has bad reactions to shots. And it says in the pamphlets, don't do that. So we didn't. And our kids are fine. And no, they don't carry diseases and they don't get kids sick. My kids are like super healthy. They hardly ever get sick. So weirdly, I think maybe there's like some validity to this whole, maybe they're not the best thing for you. I don't know. Not a doctor. I just want you to know that there are other parents out there that chose different routes for the health of their kids. And it worked out okay. Obviously, Evan's got a bit of a thing going on, which we're not sure where that came from, though the story seems to be the same. A boy who ate really well in high school or at home, went to college, and in his second year got Crohn's. And we're like, damn, that's like your story. So who knows? I don't know. There's probably some recipe of disaster that we walked into. Okay. So get your sleep. Embrace imperfection. Listen, I think that's probably the worst thing. You are the only person, maybe your wife too, you're the only person that wants your son or daughter to grow up to be better than you. You want your son to be stronger, handsomer, taller, more muscles, whatever, intelligent. You want your daughter to be as tall. I don't know. There's a height thing with girls. So as tall as she wants to be, you want her to have the hair that she wants to have, right? You want those things. You want on their SAT score, you did like 1400, they got 1401. And you're like, hell yes, right? I don't even know 1600 is the best score. So they got 1601. They're so best, they're better than best. There is probably no other man in their life that wants this for them. So you need to embrace the imperfection that they are and love them. I love the idea of sports or in school, instead of saying something like, hey, great job on that A, because now you're or good job scoring that goal or good job winning that game, you're emphasizing the outcome. And man, when you go play a soccer game, both sides want to win. So the outcome is kind of 50-50 if they're both evenly talented, right? So, I mean, if you're only rewarding the win, then you're losing. You're not, it's not going to go well for you. Instead, one thing we did with our kids is I said, hey, in the position that you're playing, let's take Levi and Evie both played midfielders. I said, what's the primary goal of the midfielder? Well, it's to do this and that. Like, okay, great. How often do you think you should be able to do this and that effectively? I mean, knowing that you're only a kid and your team's full of a bunch of kids, it obviously not 0% and obviously not 100%. So what percentage, right? And so we'd come up with a realistic percentage, and then I would track it for them. Like, hey, do you want me to track that? And they're like, sure. And so I'd make notes, and it's just on the things that they could do. Did they win? I mean, I can't help it if you win. But if you're touching the ball, did you get rid of it within 2 touches? That's a good midfielder action, right? Did you move across the ball to the other side? Did you find an open man? Did you lead the man? Did you create a scoring opportunity, right? So these are the things that we would track. And then we'd get done and be like, hey, of the 15 possessions you had, 14 of them were 2 touches or less. So that's pretty damn good. That's like somewhere above 90%. I should have done easier numbers, but I don't know what percentages on 15 is. Percentages on 10 I could do. So that would have been 90% if it was 10. Anyway, or 9 out of 10. So embrace the imperfection and lean into the growth mindset. So it's like this with Olivia. She's really talented on piano. And I never say, you are awesome on the piano. Nope. I tell her things like, I love the hard work you put into your piano. And for the soccer, I love the hard work you put into that. It really shows when you're on the field, right? So now I'm emphasizing you're a hard worker. And there's studies, if you go look this up, they took a class and the teacher, I think it was like 3rd graders. It's always 3rd graders because they don't know what's going on some of, this is back in the 70s, I think, when they did this, when you could do stuff like this and no one would like call you out. I mean, I think back in the 70s, they also did that shock experiment, which, I mean, that would be totally illegal to do today. Anyway, so they told the teacher would give back grades to the students, and with the grade, she would, for half the class, she was rewarding a very fixed mindset. Good job on the A, you are so smart. And on the other half of the class, she said something like, good job on the A, you really work hard and it shows, right? So one is praising hard work, which you can always replicate and you can push down into and you can dive into. You may not always get the A because now you're like, well, am I smart? Am I not smart? And then they made the tests progressively harder and they were not going to be able to answer them. It was stuff that they hadn't seen yet. The kids that were called smart or rewarded for smart started to fall off. And when they realized they didn't know, all of a sudden they felt super stupid. The other one said, well, I don't know, but she says I'm a hard worker and I figure things out and I'm going to dive in and see if I can figure it out. So again, it's just this idea of rewarding their efforts, not necessarily the outcomes, and embracing the imperfections. Your kids are never going to get it right. I remember one time I yelled at Levi for, he was about to put, we have diesel for the tractor and it's in a yellow container. And we've got gas in a red container, but then we have 2-cycle in the 2-gallon tanks, which 2-cycle has just got oil mixed in it, right? So it's for like a weed whacker or something. And so he was about to put diesel in the lawnmower, which all you dads out there are going, but here's the thing. I got mad at him. I kind of started to yell. Then I was like, wait a minute. Why would you know? Levi, have I ever told you yellow is diesel for the tractor? He's like, no, I don't even know what diesel is. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's my fault and you should punish me because I made you stupid, right? I made him ignorant and I can correct ignorance by giving him the information. So once he had the information, guess what? He never did it again. So sometimes it's a teach thing. Sometimes it's the dad thing, right? Sometimes it's them, but embrace the imperfection. Also, at every moment in time, if your kid says, can I help? You say yes. We just did a gym party at the house, and one of Decker's kids came up, and I'm flipping burgers, and he's watching that, and he's like looking like he wants to flip some burgers. So I said, hey, you want to flip some? He's like, yes, matter of fact, I do. I said, it's pretty fun. It's kind of hot, but it's meat, and you can't mess this up because I've got so many. So flip, have fun. It's just a fast scoop and a twist of your wrist. He's like, all right, let me give this a shot. And he did the first row, and he looked at me, and he smiled. Then he looked at the second row, and it dawned on him. He's like, wait a minute. This is actually work, and I'm doing your work, aren't I? Smart kid. So he tried it, he got it, and then he left, right? Did those hamburgers take a little bit longer to flip than it should have? Yes, sure, right? And did some slip through the cracks? In this case, no, he did a good job. I've slipped him through the cracks of the grate, and totally fine. The value that he got out of an adult investing in him and trying a new thing is invaluable. And I saw one of the parents watching and just shaking his head like up and down, like, yeah, good job, thank you. Not shaking his head no, like, you idiot. So we're on the same team. I want to help out. All right, next thing. Building strong partnerships. So the partnership is this. You partner with your spouse, make sure you talk to her. Make sure you tell her what's going on. She cannot read your mind. She's probably going through a sleep withdrawal, right? And she's feeding too, herself and the baby. So you need to partner up. Do everything you can. Here's a thing that I've heard, and statistically it is true. There's this guy, John Gottman, who has the Love Lab. It's an apartment that they've converted into a laboratory, basically, and they tell couples to go in there for 3 days, and they film everything. And I should find that, John Gottman. But he's got, oh man, it's a great marriage book. But anyway, he said that when he asked the husband, what percentage of the chores do you think you did over this weekend? They would say something like 80%. And every time, whatever number they picked, it was exactly half. So he did 40% and she did 50% or 60%. So it was never what the husband thought. So husbands, dads, if you think you're doing stuff, you're not really doing stuff. You need to do more, and you need to look around the room and do this stuff. So the partnership in this is you doing more. If I'm not against golf, yes, I am. I'm not against golf. But if you're going to go out golfing and leave her home all by herself, then you're kind of a jackass. You probably shouldn't do that. Or you should plan it like, honey, leave me enough food, milk, etc., that you can go off and do a thing. And then when you come back later on, I'll go off and do a thing, right? So split it up, partner with them. Don't be selfish. This is a very small phase when they're newborn. Now, this is true later on. It's a weird thing. In our family, I am the keeper of the schedule and the emailer of the teachers. So the teachers would email Verity, who doesn't check her email, and it would sit there until next year. She would never get to it. I would have to routinely remind the parents, hey, if there's any emails you sent out in the last month, please send them to me because she's never going to read them. So that's just a duty swap that we did. She's got other things. I do that. I love Tetrising the calendar, and she does not. So I put it all together. Now, part of that, there's a happy dance coming. One day you will only wipe your ass. It's going to be awesome. The other thing that's coming is one day they will all be able to drive. Until then, if they're late because of you, it's your fault, and you should do burpees or run laps. And this is to like sporting events or school or whatever. You're an adult. You know how things go. Here's the other thing that I would ask you to think about. If you are always saving your child, then they will never learn the stress and strain when it doesn't really matter. You are going to think it's super important. Okay, let me back it up. So I thought kindergarten was important until I realized it's not that important. So I went over the top of it and I was a little too relaxed. So Dawn Holstrom was all the kids. I think every one of them had her as a first grade or kindergarten teacher at Cherokee Christian. She's great. And one time, I think it was for Evan. So it's my second time through. Evan didn't turn something in, and we went to parents' night, and she's like, hey, so he's missing some stuff. If you could help him like get on that. I'm like, it's just kindergarten. It's not like it really matters. Oh man, it's like I shot her dog. It does matter. And I went too far. He needs to understand the consequences of it. I guess that's really what I meant is, hey, if there's a punishment that needs to be happened, like he doesn't get to go to, I don't know, recess or whatever, man, let's put down the punishment. I should have done that earlier. We spent a little bit too much time saving kids and maybe talking on their behalf. I wouldn't do it. I would help them, guide them to talk. And if your kids ever want practice, I will be your practice dummy if you're at the gym. If you're not at the gym, I don't know, that might be kind of weird. But if they need practice talking to an adult, I know my kids say this all the time. I'm not exactly sure how to talk to an adult. I'm like, honey, you're 22. Son, you're 20. You guys are adults. You're already talking to adults. So you already got this covered. One way you can help them in this is you partner with them for going out to eat. So we would go to a place where you had to order, like let's go with Outback or Longhorn. We would tell the kids, hey, you can get anything you want as long as you order it. So they had to look at the menu and figure it out. I also told them, look, we're at when we went to a steak joint, like, hey, we're at a steak place. You know what you don't eat at a steak place? You don't eat chicken fingers. You need to order something else. No chicken fingers. And so we got them out of the idea of eating chicken fingers and then into the idea of, hey, if you get a steak cooked well, not well done, but like cooked to your liking. So I would tell them, go with medium, and then you could figure out, do you want more or less from that? So try medium first. And they did, and they would order, and it would get them to talk. And a funny story on Levi, he is forever the actor, and he likes to get himself out there in weird scenarios and then try to figure it out. And so we pulled up to the waitress, and he said, Dad, I got this. I'm like, oh, sure, go ahead. And he said, McCann, table for 6. And she's like, looks at me, and I look right back at him, and the waitress was like, or the stewardess was like, not stewardess, the hostess is like, Okay. And she hands him the little beeper thing or the pager or whatever. And so we would go and walk away and sit down, and he has it, and he's like smiling big. And so it goes, hey, it's going off. And we go back over there, and he would lead us to the table. So we sit down, and then he's like, okay, I got this too. I'm like, I don't even know what's about to happen. Show me. So the waitress comes over, and he's like, okay, this is the drink order. And he would go around and order everybody's drink, and he knew what they would get because he's been paying attention. And then he'd say, no bread for the table, but we do want 2 ahi tunas or whatever it is, right? We get 2 wings or whatever, or the mushrooms. He would order all that. He didn't order their dinners, but he ordered that stuff. So he's, stepping out. Did he get it wrong sometimes? Yes, of course. And did he look at me for support? Yes. And I just gave him a thumbs up. I'm like, you got this. And when he would mess up, he would just then go like, hey, Evie, what was it that you wanted? And you'd make sure he got it right. So he learned how to ask those questions. Yes, it did take longer, but I partnered with him to grow him to a new place. I didn't beat him or push him or, aggressively lead him. I partnered with him to let him do these things. All right. So the next one is time management. Here's what I'm going to tell you, man. There is no time management. It's not a balancing act. It's a seesaw of doom. When you have a kid, everybody knows it. The seesaw gets slid way over and everything is kid based, right? There's very little, actually, that seesaw doesn't work like that. It's whatever. Anyway, everything is kid based and that's just what you're going to do. You will get out of it. Yes. Don't fall down the trap of running away for work. So I didn't think about this. I was doing my job. I was earning the money and it was like the year, I don't know, like 2000, 2001, something like that. I'm a technical sales engineer, senior account manager, whatever the hell it was called, making something like $150,000 a year in like 2000 money. So that's like, I don't even know in today's money. It's super stupid. But it's a sales commission job. So you would make that much because you're getting commission. And as long as you went and did your job, I mean, it's hard not to mess it up. Just don't be a jackass and show up. Anyway, I would go on my sales trips for like 4 or 5 days. So basically the whole work week. And sometimes I would leave Sunday night to get a jump on it. And my wife said something like, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, what are you running from? And I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. And I left. I shouldn't have left. I should have changed my appointments. I'm sure I was close to the big D on that one. I don't mean Dallas. And on that trip, I realized that my attempt to earn money in this time management, fatherhood, my personal life, my balancing work, all this stuff was super imbalanced. I was trying to provide lots of self-reliance, cash, to do the things we want. And what did she really want? She wanted me to be there, to be a partner with her, not to go out and so eventually over time we started, the rental business, started putting money in there. I traveled less, tried to do more things over the phone, and bundle up my trips so that I just wasn't going out to see one person and then hoping for more. I got smarter, but dads, you need to time manage. You need to do it better. Sometimes it's just being smarter about your time. And if you need help with that, man, I've done it. 15-ish years of traveling sales guy. I can help you figure out a schedule. A lot of times it's just because it's your life and your schedule. You just don't see it. A perfect example at the gym. We now have 24/7 access. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Come on in. I was against it. You ask every coach. I was against that crap as much as you could be for 17 years, thinking I wanted coaching, mentoring, and accountability. And then 2 guys in one day said basically the same thing. Hey, it's 8 p.m. My wife's out of town. I just got home. I want to go work out, but I live in an apartment. Or I don't have stuff. And I can't come to the gym because there's no class. And I don't want to get another membership. I'm like, So in my desire to keep you accountable, to keep you showing up, I actually am screwing you over because I shut down the gym. So the initial push was like, hey, maybe I'll look at it like a year or 2 ago. And then within 3 weeks of them telling me that story, I went full tilt and got it up and done. All the I's dotted and T's crossed. Insurance was happy and blessed it. So here it is. But it took them talking to me about seeing the problem that I couldn't see because I'm too deep into it. Okay. Self-care matters. Dude, this is going to be huge. There are so many dads that dad bod's a thing. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Do not be okay with dad bod. That's dumb. That just means you're going to die early. I'm 50. When we hit 76, so I have 26 more years, half the people that were born in 1973 will be dead. they're already dying right now. Kinetic injury and then all the other stupid crap that happens. Usually it boils down to please move and eat smart. So Brady had a good conversation point the other day. He's like, hey, I think my workouts would be better if I adjusted my diet some. I'm like, yes, that is true. Now, don't deceive yourself because what we do, CrossFit, is a little bit intense and it does a lot of things. You're still getting the value input. So you're still getting stronger. You could still climb Stone Mountain with a backpack on and you can go do that and be totally fine. It's just that if you don't adjust your diet, then your flab will hide your muscles. They're there. They're just being hidden. So he said, hey, would it be like smart to adjust sugar? And here's the thing I would give you. You need to adjust the thing that's the worst. And don't ask yourself, ask a couple people, hey, what's the worst thing about my eating habits? They're going to tell you. Or maybe you eat in secret, then maybe you're the only one that knows. Typically, it's the quantity and the quality and sugar. So if you need help getting off of sugar, I am happy to help you. Let me pull up that podcast. There's a podcast we did. It's like one of the first ones we did. Actually, there's a cool one, Fighting Pre-Diabetes. That's episode 100. Go listen to that. And then the one on sugar is, where did it go? Let's see. There's a lot of them in here. Oh, it's episode 27. Yeah, super early on how to stop consuming sugar. So that's 27. Man, I put in sugar and there's a lot of them that come up. So just put in sugar. You'll see a whole bunch of them that pop up on sugar. And basically don't eat it, not do eat it. Get rid of it. It's been more than 15 years. I kind of lost track. I don't eat sugar and I'm totally fine. And I'm alive and it's okay. So you can do that. So self-care matters. What I would do at a bare minimum, actually, you know what I would do? I hate to say it, but I hate to say it. I love to say it. This is great. I would just join a gym like ours. It doesn't necessarily have to be a CrossFit gym. Here is what you need. You need an owner that is there, that has the gym because they care. You need, classes so that you can overlap the yes, I'm getting fit with I'm building community, right? So now you've got people that you can talk to. You also want coaches that have some sort of standard so that they're always getting better and they're always helping you get better. So coach the coach as well as coaching you, right? So there's a program to help them get better. The reason I say that is in the Venn diagram of life, when you overlap all this stuff, an owner that cares, once you're there, they're going to do a lot of things to care about the things that you care about. And when they care about the things you care about, they're going to keep you accountable. And that's part of it, right? Okay. Don't neglect while I don't go to the doctor myself, I do go on the important time. So whenever I have to get the oil changed or whatever, so go and get the things that you should checked out. Bigger is if you didn't eat some of the shit that you eat, you probably wouldn't have to get that stuff checked out. There are weird things out there and sometimes you're not going to believe them and maybe they may not be true, but investigate that stuff. Do better for you, do better for your family. If you're eating cereal every night, that's bad. Right? Or cereal 5 times a day. In Evan's dorm, or not dorm, his apartment that we moved him into to get away from the mold for Crohn's, to have a fresher life. Evan can pretty much only eat meat. That's the only thing that it doesn't upset his stomach. And so I should do another Crohn's part 3. I'll do that next time. Anyway, he's doing well. One of the roommates only eats cereal. So you couldn't have 2 different people, right? Evan's only eating meat and the other kid, one of the 4, is only eating cereal. He's like, Dad, I don't know how he's still alive. He only eats cereal. Of course, this kid says to Evan, that meat smells rancid. I'm like, well, if it was rancid, you probably wouldn't eat it. So it's probably just meat smell, but I don't know. The smell of cooking meat is great to me. My wife doesn't particularly care for it, so I get it. There are people who don't, but this kid is like telling Evan that it's rancid and you're going to die if that's all you eat. It's just not true, right? So don't deceive yourself. Eat the smart things. All right, next one is bond with your baby. Dude, you need to hold your baby. You need to cuddle your baby. You need to sleep with your baby. No, that sounds weird. You need to get on the couch and let your baby sleep on top of you, right? In a safe way, or maybe on the floor so you don't roll off and drop the baby. That's bad. Some of the best sleep I ever got was putting the baby on my chest and just going to sleep, right? And just laying there and patting him on the butt or whatever. Bond with your baby. It's not hard. It's basically children spell love Time. Give them time and that you will be showing them love. I know what you want, which is quality time. You can't do that unless you have quantity time. You need to drive them and not be in your shit, but listen to them. Ask questions. I think a great question when you're picking them up from school or when you're walking home from the bus or whatever it is like, hey, tell me a story about today. If you ask it enough, they're going to start preparing themselves to have that story ready to go. So anyway, build that connection. Ask questions. Put them in a backpack. Take them for a hike. we used to do this thing. We lived in the woodlands, and there was a trail that they had built out, which I think is part of Green Prince, the whole big trail alliance or whatever. But we called it the 100-acre woods after like Winnie the Pooh. And they'd be like, hey, let's go to the 100-acre woods. I'm like, sure. And it's just a trail walk. But it's not the destination, it's the journey. We would just walk, and some days we would pick up sticks and throw them. We pick up acorns and pine cones. We would get to the creek, and they're like, today's the day we're just going to go down to the creek and jump in the creek and throw the tiny rocks. I'm like, great, let's do it. Of course, this is bad. It was the one day we're at the bend in the creek, and we're throwing rocks, and I was like, I wonder if there's any fish in that little, like the bend right there where it seems to hollow out a bit. So I went and looked, and there's a dead deer in the water just letting, detritus and decay come down the river. Now, it didn't smell, so I don't know how fresh it was, but I was like, everybody, let's get out of the water and go home and shower. So I didn't tell them what was in there. We just went back, and I was like, don't put your fingers in your mouth, please. Yeah, but it was exciting, and everyone was fine. And again, nobody had shots, and they were super good. They have a good immune system. But yes, that was gross. Okay, so this is a good one. You need to learn to change your priorities. Man, you are an adult and they are a kid and they don't understand what the priorities are. So you're going to have to adjust them and change them, and you just have to be okay with that. So like, I am a very big, if we're going to go on a trip, let's pack the damn car up, get it all Tetrised, and leave on time because I said so. And I have no real reason why I want to leave on time, but we do, right? And let's get there. No pee stops, no fun stops. We're just hauling ass. That is not the way to do it. I have changed my ways. I tell them now, hey, I would like to leave at 2 p.m. Please have your stuff ready so we can proceed out the door at 2 p.m. The reason is I want to beat traffic and be at this place so we can have a dinner. If you guys want to do that, great, let's leave at 2 p.m. Now, they're old enough to pack their own stuff, so I don't have to worry about it. And if they forget to bring underwear, that's their fault. Again, I let them have some easy fails, like, well, it looks like you're going to wear the same underwear or no underwear. I guess that's part of it, right? It's an easy fail. No one gets hurt. And they learn something. Hey, I should probably pack underwear. Or when your mom gives you a list, instead of crumbling it and throw it away, keep the list because the list is good every single time. Thank you, Mom, for the list. So you're going to have to figure out, you're definitely going to know what your priorities are, but you're going to then need to adjust them to let life happen. Money is a priority, but if it's the priority, it becomes a problem, right? So you see what I'm saying here. So just be able to adjust those priorities and take a deep breath and let it go. Your family is here, and that's what you wanted. All right, I should talk more on this. I haven't done, I guess I did the Rich Dad Poor Dad, so I don't talk finance nearly as much, but it's a big part of it. You need to have the finance dialed in. And yes, I just said don't chase money, but don't be a dumbass with your money either. Use something like Mint or YNAB or something to track your expenses. They get you on recurring fees and you forget they're there. So make sure you understand what those are and what you're paying for. I have never done well buying the extended warranty. It never goes well. I never need it. So maybe don't do those things, right? But understand what you're spending on. Insurance is good. Extended warranty is, I don't know. I would talk ahead of time to somebody like Aaron Vincent or Matt Decker with Vincent Financial, who's part of the gym. They're down there in downtown Woodstock. They've got an office. Their job is to help you plan for retirement. Weirdly, guess what they do all day? They mess with money and come up with strategies and stuff, right? You don't. So don't be a dumbass and try to invest your money all by yourself. Now, I am a fan of like, hey, I think Tesla stock's going to go up, or I like the company and I'm going to buy that. Great. I like NVIDIA. I like their graphics card. Oh, AI is using all those cards now. Look at me and my money. Yay. I like Bitcoin. Great, do that. But give the big strategy to them. Give the, I'm going to knock it out of the park, maybe, to yourself, right? So if you buy a stock and never sell it, you never lost any money. But don't put so much in there that you're a dumbass with it, right? So go talk to them. I would give it to a professional. Everybody that I know that invests on their own emotionally invests, and that's tough. These guys are not going to emotionally invest. They're going to do smart strategies because it's your money. It's not theirs. And so they're going to do the things that make sense. And they're going to set you up with great plans. So you need to have some financial planning done, right? Here's another one that nobody ever really talks about. When your kids turn 18, you are no longer allowed to actually get answers from the hospital or from college. So it would be worthwhile to actually, let me go ahead and pull this up. Okay. This is Mama Bear Legal Forms. My wife had this passed to her and I love it. This assumes super easy. So if you got the super easy thing, it's worth the, I don't know, like $50 to get things done. You can have your kids do a will, a living trust, a power of attorney, a resuscitation order and all that. So if your kid goes to college and something happens, you technically, because they're an adult, don't necessarily have the exact right to tell them what to do. The state's going to make up that choice, unless you can provide a document saying, I have power of attorney. When they're 18, you need to do that. Nobody tells you about that. You should do that. They may not have stuff, but if something happens to your child and, I don't know, I hate these scenarios, but if they pass away and they do have any stuff and you want it, the government may take it because of a thing. If it's in the will, all my stuff goes to my parents, then it's covered, you're all good. So just have the basic stuff done because you just don't know. I'd also maybe go ahead and invest in that LifeLock. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. So I believe it's a thing that Norton bought. Yeah, it says right there by Norton now. So LifeLock was bought by Norton. Basically, they try to lock down your stuff and say if your social security number is stolen, then we'll let you know. And I don't know. I don't know if it works. I do have it. My kids have it. So we're on it. It's an insurance that I'm okay paying for in case in the day of identity theft, somebody steals. It would just really suck. I've known people who have had stuff like this happen to them, and it's just a pain in the butt. So it's worthwhile. Okay, dads, back onto you. Take responsibility for this and get that done. The next one is going to be hands-on. Man, there's a statement we have in our family, get your pants dirty. So get out there, play with the kids. They're going to do a thing, and you want to do that thing with them. You want to be out there with them doing whatever it is that they're doing. It is good, and it is right, and it is fun. Get out there. Volunteer to be the coach. Whatever. Even if you don't know how to coach it, it doesn't matter. Be there. And then don't be an asshole about it, right? So I already said there's a podcast about don't be a jackass on the field. Listen to that first. But get out there and do it. If they want to go out into the woods and build a bridge. Even if it's over like a 2-foot gap, it doesn't matter. Be involved. Be hands-on. Get your pants dirty. Now, I guess hands-on, you could be like, be a spanking dad. We spanked. I'm okay with that. I would just say, never spank in anger and apologize when you do something wrong. Like one time I spanked Evan. I was really sure he did whatever it was. And then Levi's like, Dad, it was me. And I'm like, man, I already hit Evan and I hit him pretty hard on the butt. I not hit him, I spanked him. And I came up to Evan and was like, hey, buddy, I'm sorry. Levi said it was him, and I am so sorry. Then he made me even guiltier because he said, Dad, it's okay. I probably deserved it anyway for something else I did or will do. I'm like, dude, please don't do that. But don't be quick to spank. Be quick to ask and then spank, right? That's fine. And timeouts. I know not all kids need spanking. Some kids do better with timeouts. I don't know. You have to find that for yourself. I guess that's the key there. Not every punishment is fit for every kid. Actually, with my kids, I kind of did it differently. Not every kid reacts the same way. So Levi didn't need spankings. He needed to be talked with and reasoned with. Evan needed a spanking to get him under control. Like I needed something to break the ice. And then he wanted logic and reason, which I could do, right? Olivia wants to listen. And Evie, again, love is Time. So I spend time. All right. And on that point is talk to your kids. They are little humans. Give them words. If you want them to speak better to you, you need to speak better to them, right? So a great example is Randy's kid, Hazen. She talks like she's like, I don't know, 18 or something. She has such articulate words and insightful questions. Why? If you listen to Randy and Danielle, they have great questions. She gets it from them. She's mirroring it, right? So talk to your kids, not just like talk at them, but have a conversation with them. So a weird one, throw my family under the bus. I am the one who always did the birds and the bee conversation, even for our girls, which is weird, right? So I'm like, hey, your body's changing. Let's talk about that. Just don't make it weird. You're the dad. Yes, they're a female, but they're your daughter. Talk to them. And I would just go straight into it and be like, hey, this is what happens and this is what you need to be aware of and be looking for. So let me know if you need any more questions, right? And just make it normal. In retrospect, when I asked them, like, hey, how did that go? They're like, yeah, at first I thought it was weird, but then you didn't make it weird. So I thought, well, maybe this is just how it's done. They don't know and they love you. So whatever. Talk to them. Oh, this is a tough one right here. Encourage independence. I mentioned it early on. Let them do a thing. Let them fail a thing. Let them try a thing. Encourage them to investigate. Ask them questions rather than finding it out for them, right? If they have a problem with the teacher, say, what would you think you'd like to talk with them about? Like, how would you rehearse it? How would you do it? Let's do that. I am now Mrs. Stadenko. Let's talk about it. And have them like work on it so that they can be independent. Because what you definitely don't want is to do your kids' laundry so that when they get to college, they're like, I don't know how to do my laundry. You want them to know how to do that. Levi especially is like, Dad, it's crazy. These kids don't know how to do anything. Nobody knows how to change, like use a power drill. No one knows how to do a screw. No one knows how to use a hammer. They don't know how to wash their clothes. They don't know how to like put the soap in. Dad, what's wrong with these people? So he's a third kid. So he got a whole lot more of you should do it yourself than say Olivia. And that's just the way it is, right? Evan's drain was clogged in this new apartment that he's in. And he's like, what do you think I should do? I'm like, you could get one of those hair puller things and just give it a tug and see if it works. Turns out the tub has a 90-degree bend, and you really had to work it to get it to go down the drain correctly. So when I got over there, I'm like, let me see if we give it a go. And I did a few things. He's like, oh yeah, I see how that would work. And I pushed it down there, it jigged, and I pulled, and a little like gross hair mouse came out. It wasn't a mouse, it was just the last tenant's hair. Ugh. It was big and disgusting. Okay, the next one. Dads, I love the meme or the reel or whatever it is, the article I read, where it's like, sometimes you have a kid just so you have a playmate. It's true. Dads are like that. So dads, play with your children. The value of play is huge. And I'm not just saying like, let's play shoots and ladders. Whatever game they come up with. We had this dumb game called Jump, Duck, and Roll. And so I would grab a pillow, and they had the option based on how I was swinging it, and I would go slow. They'd either jump over the pillow, duck under the pillow, or roll away from the pillow. So it was jump, duck, or roll. And when we were doing an entrance meeting to Fellowship Christian. No, I take it back. When we were doing the senior advisement at Fellowship Christian, and they were going to write up their essays or whatever. The counselor had said, hey, is there anything that you'd like me to talk about? Make sure I hit all the things. I was like, no, but it'd be funny if you asked her about jump, duck, and roll. So Olivia's like a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, whatever. And the counselor at the school says, goes through a bunch of stuff, very logical, very timely. It's like how to do UGA, Auburn applications, all this stuff. And she's like, okay, so you have to write an essay. And I would like to know a little bit more about this game you used to play called Jump, Duck, and Roll. And man, she turned red and she's like, what the hell? How does she know how to and it was hilarious to see her go through this. Anyway, my point though is it does build some fun for later on, but also it creates memories. For you, they're fleeting because it's just some dumb game you played, but for them, man, it means the world. We would play this other game. I guess you can see the theme here. I'm always about destruction and hurting my children, I guess. So I would stand, so we had a house that had, basically, you can make a figure eight out of the first floor. And so there was an open hallway that from the door to the living room, and then there was two pillars, like one was a stairwell and one was just the wall. But you could basically make a figure eight. So anyway, I would stand on one side on the middle of the eight, and they would be on the other side, and they would try to run past, and I'd have to time my throw so that I would throw a pillow under their feet to trip them at the right moment. In retrospect, yes, I probably would have put their head into like the couch or the wall or the stairs, but it was a great game and they loved it. And I just threw pillows at them. It was fun. Of course, Verity did not play those games. It was just me and the kids. So dads, get down there, play with the kids. They are going to love it. The time you invest in them now, here's the thing, if you want them to care about what you know, then you have to let them know that you care, right? And again, they spell care and love T-I-M-E, time. Yeah, that's how you spell time. Okay, so modeling behavior. If you're a dick, they're going to be a dick. If they're shouting, you're going to shout. If they're walking into a house, like you see these reels right now where kids are like saying MF, and you're like, where did they get that? It's because you say it. So model the behavior that you want. If you're a drunk alcoholic, they're probably going to grow up to be that way too. Or they'll lean the other way and realize how bad it is. So model who you want them to see as well as become. I'm going to just leave it as that. That's going to be a tough one for you to figure out that who you want them to be. I mean, it shouldn't be. There's some really well-tested and time-proved values that you should go for, right? Teenage years. Their kids are going to change, and you're going to wonder who they are. Here's the best advice I can give you. Spend the time pre-teenage years to let them know you love them and they can talk to you about anything. My kids will say things that maybe other children shouldn't. And they know if they tell them themselves, there's really no punishment. So I was telling some of you guys in the gym the other day, I don't know why we have bottles of alcohol in the basement. I don't even drink, but maybe it was from Y2K. It couldn't have been because we don't live in this house, but let's just say we bought them for Y2K, if you remember what that was. And we were just going to have a good old time drinking. I don't know, but it's like vodka and whatever else is a clear alcohol in a glass bottle, and it's huge, like a gallon jug, right? And we had 4 of them downstairs, and they've been downstairs forever, and I just sort of forgot they were there. One day I was cleaning recently, and I went down there, and I'm over in the back corner where only that really stuff is, and I'm like, this thing looks empty. It doesn't look like it's like the light is passing through it like there's not water or alcohol or something in there. So I went over there and shook them, and all 4 of them are empty. One of them wasn't. One of them was half empty. And so I yelled up, "Hey, Levi, come down to the basement. I got a question for you." He knew what was coming. He already knew. So he started coming down the steps, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, just to let you know, me and my friends drank all that alcohol." So we have a rule in the house. Don't let stupid compound. Don't do something dumb and then do something dumber, right? So don't commit a crime while committing crime. You're going to go drink, don't drive, right? So he told on himself, and I was like, okay, well, did anybody drive? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, was it one night or was it over the years? He's like, yeah, it was over the years. Once we figured out y'all didn't know, we just kept doing it. I'm like, all right, well, that's dumb on me. Thank you for not being too stupid. So talk to them. Let them tell you things. The story, oh my gosh. The stories Levi is telling me right now about college and the no thank yous he's having to tell girls. I'm like, what girls are these? There were no girls like that at Georgia Tech. And I'm glad your mom was like that. I'm glad your sisters aren't like that. But dude, I'm glad they talked to me. Maybe I don't always need the story, but it is kind of interesting to see the morality of your children come out. All right, so the other one is going to be fostering some emotional intelligence. And that's a tough one, right? So talk to them about those emotions and help them understand, like, this is the big one. And you're going to forget because it wasn't you. Evie doesn't like board games. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. You get upset and you get all antsy and you don't like board games. What is it about board games you're not liking? She's like, it illustrates, she didn't say it like this, but it's illustrating the fact that she's dumber than the other kids. I'm like, wait, what? So you have to understand the board games we play. For Olivia, we played Chutes and Ladders. Then when she grew up, we started playing a different game. And then by the time Evie came along, we're no longer really doing anything childlike. She advanced into, like, 8-year-old phase immediately because that's where Olivia was, and Evan and Levi were catching up. So, like, yeah, let's all do it. So we played tough games immediately when Evie was born, like Catan or 7 Wonders or those more complex games that, you play as an adult, right? And she said, I could never really get the hang of Catan, and everyone would beat me. I'm like, honey, you were only 5 and Olivia was 13. You're not dumb. You're just young. And she's like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm like, let's back that up and really think about it. If you played Catan with a 5-year-old, would you crush him? She's like, yeah. I'm like, why? She's like, oh, right? So it's emotional intelligence. She's just too young to understand those things without somebody guiding her to it, right? So take the time to guide them, to ask the questions, right? I do think another one that is a big thing that people kind of gotten away from, especially with these maybe like the phone and instant entertainment, is family traditions. I have heard it said, and I don't know if it's true, but I am trying for it, that traditions build a stability that allows them to be anchored for when the troubled times come. So on Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend, we go to Camp Ocoee for family camp. All of y'all are invited. Just go to campocoee.com and sign up for family camp. You can get yourself a cabin. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing that for years, and they love it, and they look forward to going. I've been going since I was 12, and I'm 50, so that's like 38 years. Is that right? 38 years I've been going, and I don't think we've missed a year. So it changes over time. It's no longer that awesome trip for me because I'm an adult, but it is for them and their friends. And eventually they're going to bring their kids and it'll change again. But we have those traditions. We have a random tradition of sometimes we go skiing, sometimes we go to the beach, but this one happens a lot. There's also minor traditions, like we do eat dinner together. And I know not many people do. No phones at the table. We all sit down, we say a prayer, and I have everybody say a thing. And so sometimes it's forced, other times it's funny, and they just can't wait to tell their story. So build up those traditions. If you don't have good ones, just go Google it or ask ChatGPT. Give me some family traditions that seem to work or make sense. So the next one is about finding support. Don't do it alone. Find people that are in your age group so that you're all like walking that same walk. But even more so, find someone that's gone before, like me, if you're having a kid right now, and ask questions, right? I want to invest in you. I want to share. My kids, they're 16 and up. They don't really need me like that, but you're at a phase that you could use some help possibly, right? My kids will be there soon, and sure, I'd like to hone my skills on helping for when they get there, which will be soonish. I imagine within the next 10 years, I'll have grandkids, right? So find some support. I also like the idea of overlapping those Venn diagram, like the circles that overlap. I guess you don't overlap Venn diagrams. The Venn diagram is the overlapping circles. So church is a good one. Hey, I'm getting fed spiritually. There's also people doing smart and good things that are like me. A CrossFit gym. There are people like me doing these things. So it's just a great environment. Plus, you're going to find kids that are a different age. Maybe they'll babysit for you, right? So get those traditions down. Find your support network and trust them. Yeah, they're going to be dumb sometimes, but usually it's just because they're ignorant. Correct their ignorance through those life lessons. All right. Some of the things that I want to tell you are things that you should never do, right? Things you should avoid. So never I'm going to go faster through these, but don't discount your children's emotions. They're for real. Even if you, dads, even if you think those emotions are a bunch of junk, they're for real. It's taken me a very long time to realize this. You need to validate that and you need to listen. And even though, and you can tell them, I tell them this all the time, guys, I am not emotionally equipped to understand the problems you're in. I hear you. And I want to, I tell them, how long do you want to be sad for this? Give me a time frame for sadness. Is it a 1 hour thing? Is it a 1 week thing? Like, what's the appropriate sadness? Like, let's be sad and let's cry and let's wallow in it. I am with you. And then when they're ready, hey, that bitch is crazy. Hey, that bitch is just jealous of you, all that. Eventually, they're going to say, well, what would you do to solve it? I'm like, yes, if you want that, I'm here for you, but I don't offer it up immediately. Go watch the video on YouTube. It's not about the nail. Dads, you're going to love it. Moms, you're going to love it. Tell your dads or your husbands to watch that too. Okay, don't compare your children to other children, especially your own children. Like, you're just not as smart as your older sibling. No shit, because they're older. So don't do that. There is a lot of pressure. Evie talks to us about this, like, hey, the other kids did really well in high school and AP classes and the SAT and ACT. I'm a little nervous about this whole scenario. And right now she's riding pretty high on the fact that she's taking an AP class and doing better in it than the other kids did. So she's kind of an ass about it. But I mean, like, you know what? I told the other kids, like, just let her have her time. She thought she stressed so much over this. Be a good sibling. Say, well done. Even though she's making fun of you for not getting the same grade. It's okay. So we have that conversation. Sometimes I let my children, the older ones, come behind the curtain and say, hey, be part of the production, not the audience. Let's be part of it and let it happen. Don't be critical, right? Damn, you suck. That's an easy one. Why didn't you score that goal? That's an easy one, right? If it's like, why don't you stop it? Just take a deep breath and be like, I love you. This was what I said when they played soccer, and that one dad said he moved away from me, and I was like, oh shit. Am I that dad? He's like, you just became that dad. Stop it. I'm like, okay, my bad. I'm so sorry. And that day, I made a 360-degree turn in my life. No, I went 180 and became the other dad who never was a dick. And, oh man, I was so bad. Don't be that dad. Don't focus on critical. Now what I tell them is, I told them is, hey, I enjoy watching you play that sport. I love seeing you out there. That's it. That's all I say. I don't really care how they did, because you know what? My kids aren't pro material. They're not even college material. As a matter of fact, I don't want my kids to play in college. I want them to get a degree and use their brain, because using their brain is tough and people will pay money for that. Nobody paid me to pole vault. That ship sailed and that shit doesn't work. So get an engineering degree. That stuff really helped me. Okay, so we are really bad about this. Do not be inconsistent in your discipline. So be consistent in your discipline. Don't punish one kid and not the other. Don't say things that you can't follow through on. Oh, I'm going to turn this car around. No, you're not. You're going to go because you have to. Don't say that, right? It is tough to find the right mix. And I don't have an answer for you. We've done it right and wrong, and we found gold, and then we found it was fool's gold. And each child is different. So you're going to have to figure that one out. Ask your support network, right? Or ask me. I can give you some better stories. The one we're on right now, Evie does not do the chores she's got. And so we're like, hey, we finally found a semi-pain point. I don't want to take the car away because it helps me having her drive. And she doesn't need a phone because we don't even have a house phone. So I'm like, damn it, I really have tied my hands on this one. So instead what we did is we said, hey, your curfew is 7 o'clock. You can do whatever you want, but at 7 o'clock, you better be home. Now, don't speed to get home. Just let us know I'm coming home. I'm fine with that. But just realize you can't go spend the night, do things, whatever, because you have a curfew. And there's tears. Now she does her chores, so it's good. And the other one is watch out for how much work and hobbies take away from your family time. If you have to, put a stopwatch to it. Okay, because this podcast is about laying a firm foundation, fitness, food, and finance, I'm going to throw this out to you as a parting gift. And if you need help, this is really where I live my life. We want to be healthy and fit now, as well as in our 90s, right? We're happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now, as well as in our 90s. How do we do that? We have to invest in ourselves now. So prioritize regular exercise. Come to the gym. If you come to a gym like ours, it's a Venn diagram, and you're going to get a lot out of that. Maintain a good, healthy diet, one that you can maintain. So doing what I do is pretty damn good, the carnivore diet, the lion diet, but not many of you can do it, and I wouldn't tell you to because it's very restrictive. But I think being off sugar for so long has made my tongue okay with eating like this. I would have either me or somebody look at your nutrition and at least wipe out the stupid stuff. Get enough sleep. Man, your body needs 8 hours of sleep. Some of you can actually do with less, and some of you need more. You need to figure that out, and you need to get that sleep. The other is you need to have meaningful relationships. And this is why I push for like a gym like ours. There's a lot of fun people. When we did the gym party, there was 6 a.m. people who met 6 p.m. people, and they hit it off and talked for hours. And it was great. So you need to find those meaningful relationships. I left this on Norton LifeLock for so long. In this presentation I'm going to give in November out in Dallas, Fort Worth area, this 5 pillars of health and longevity. You know me, the spoiler. The biggest one is you need to have connection. It's the hardest thing, but the people with the longest lives have that as well as the other stuff. And they ate well. So do those things, right? You need to find the connection. You need to do the thing. You need to have a group that is meaningful to you. And Evan's finding out that not every college kid is cut out this way. And I'm like, dude, they're just in college. It's okay. They'll change as they get older. But finding your people is important. And today it's not that hard because there's literally lists and ways to find people. I cheat by forcing it. Be like, hey, those that like to play D&D and do CrossFit, where are you? Those that like board games and CrossFit, where are you? So I can find the healthy and fit people as well as they're sort of nerdy like me, and we can match up. Yay, right? Those who do chickens and those things, right? When we find each other. Put yourself out there. Ask me to ask the group. I'm happy to do that. All right, guys, I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to give you a couple gym things right now, and then I'll wrap this puppy up. Okay, in rapid succession. Jennifer is going to start coaching soon, the 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. on Friday. She has her level 1, and she lives up in Canton. She CrossFits up there, but she's going to motor down here and enjoy some time with us. Chris Lopiccolo is about done with his shadowing, and he'll be picking up some classes. He also runs and owns Grizzly Pressure Washing, so if you ever need help with that, they are there to help you. So he's going to be picking up some, probably some morning classes, we'll see. You can go out and get your online level 1, and we can talk about doing some coaching. If you're interested, you have got personality. The biggest thing is you need to have fun. It's hard to teach personality. We can teach the rest. Seth will be going on a very big mission trip. I think it's a 2-year mission trip sometime December or January. So we're going to come up with a way to support him. And then if you're watching this, I just want to throw out some things. I got a calendar I'm going to do, but also to throw out some shout outs. We did some deadlifts the other day. It was 3 or 4 days ago. And several of you got some awesome PRs. So I'm just going to read out some of the PRs because there's just way too many of them. So Tyler, Alan Lindsay, Andrew Champion, Mike Kim, Kate Decker, Caroline Hayes, Matt Caparone, Jared Taylor, Nathan Dent, Aaron Vincent, another Caroline Hayes, well done, you got a couple of those, Josh Ross, Sanjoy, Joanna, and David Moore. So there's a couple of you guys on the first page. So it was 17 of you guys that got some personal records on deadlift, thruster, power clean in the last couple days. So well done, well done. Keep it up. This stuff does work. All right, so on to the calendar. What do I want to show you there? Let me minimize that and bring this over. So on the calendar, all right, we're going to try to start going to Woodstock's or Cherokee Parks and Recs board game night, which is the first Saturday of every month. So first one will be November 2nd, board game night. There's a link that you'll see in the email. That's November 2nd. December 2nd, we'll start Alumni Week, so that's free for any alumni that have been with us in the past. Come on back. December 7th, that weekend, we're going to do a Waterfly owners meetup. So if you would like to learn something about the back-end systems of a gym, yeah, come on, you can be with that. Help me out. I'll make you a volunteer, and you can listen and learn. And then also that same night is the first Saturday, so there'll be another board game night. And then on the end of December, we're going to bring back the Worldwide WOD. We do 3 workouts and we track them from year to year, so be looking for that. Hopefully have Sharon kind of like leading that adventure for us. And then in 2025, if you are interested, we're going up to the Lenfoot Hike-In. We're going to walk up on the 2nd of January and then walk out on the 4th of January. Just reserve your own room. Myself and my kids, and then Justin and his kids will be up there, and a couple other people I think are going, so reserve a room, come on with us. Again, we'll be looking for that first Saturday to go do board game night. Hopefully eventually bring that to my house or maybe the gym or something. On January 11th, well, somewhere in there, maybe early in the morning, we're going to do a learn to process a chicken. So you'll need to bring your own stuff because I don't have something for everyone, but I will provide you with a rooster. Then January 20th will be another bring a friend. And then sometime in February and March should be the CrossFit Open. March 15th is Swamp Fox. I want some of you guys to adventure race with me. March 22nd is the Oak Mountain Adventure Race. April, we'll do a gym party here at the farm. Let's see, I'm not sure exactly when yet. I have to look for when the breaks are. May 3rd is the Blue Ridge Adventure Race. June 5th is the Chattanooga Epic Adventure Race. June 12th through the 15th, there are several guys in the gym going out to Sun Valley, Utah to do the 29029 event, which is basically hike up their ski slope like 17 times in the next 3 days and basically equate to the size of Mount Everest. So it's expensive, but should be fun. So look for that. And then we will do another gym party in September. So that's 2025. Guys, take care. Be cool. If you want 24/7 access, just let me know. I'll get you set up. I have an app to unlock the back door as well as a PIN code you can use. That's all yours. And then a whole write-up with videos on how to do things like turn on the lights. All right, guys, take care and stay strong.